If you were living under a rock on the internet about 3 to 4 months ago, you probably missed what can only be described as one of the most jaw-dropping acts of self-destruction ever witnessed. I mean, this was a colossal blunder, worse than that infamous Molotov incident at Summit 1G. Imagine losing a mid-window on Mirage because you couldn't steady your hands. It's like comparing a gaming flop to a major disaster. This whole saga is not to be taken lightly, especially considering that it could have easily been diffused, or at least lessened, with just 2 little words. Anyway, if you're out of the loop, I'm referring to the debacle involving Pirate Software, or Jason Thorhall, who surged in fame around 2022. His rise was largely fueled by his success on YouTube Shorts, which honestly baffled many due to the relentless promotion of his content on the platform. Even I felt the impact back when I dabbled in YouTube Shorts, but I've since migrated to greener pastures, enjoying my curated content on Instagram Reels now. He attracted a massive following, not just because you could pick up tips like hotkeys. I dare you to hit Control, Alt, Shift, Windows, T. You won't do it? You little coward. He also motivated folks to design games as someone who supposedly had extensive experience in gaming, claiming to have worked for industry giants like Blizzard. But he always made a point to hint that that part of his story was shrouded in mystery. I worked at Blizzard for 7 years. Did I mention that? Yeah, Blizzard. I was with Blizzard Entertainment. That's pretty much the vibe. He built his entire platform on that persona, and while many enjoyed his character, he did encourage people to dive into game development, which he deserves credit for. This success spilled over into his longer videos and his streaming career, where he often boasted over 10,000 viewers per stream, even snagging the Best Software and Game Development Streamer award in 2023. At this point, it seemed like Pirate Software was riding high at the peak of his career before a rapid fall from grace. Within no time, he transitioned from a beloved influencer to one of the most reviled, all because of his sizable ego. He often opted to defend his position vehemently, creating a narrative where everybody else was the issue, insisting on his own correctness, even when the evidence showed otherwise. I'll admit if I'm wrong, but if I don't believe I'm in the wrong and you do, that doesn't mean I owe you an apology just because you're upset. This mentality has led many to label him as arrogant, deceptive, narcissistic, and even a laughingstock at this point, with his credibility in serious question. To make matters worse, even if he stubbornly held on to his beliefs without acknowledging his mistakes, he might have escaped this fallout. He could have avoided all this negativity if he hadn't directly reacted to his critics the way he did. As a content creator facing blowback, he had 3 clear routes he could take. He could have offered a genuine apology which, with Pirate Software, would be like betting your life savings on green at a roulette table and actually winning. Alternatively, he could have taken a neutral, chaotic approach, simply ignoring the drama, letting it fizzle out on its own. Sure, the situation wouldn't resolve itself entirely, but not feeding the flame would lessen the smoke. Then there's the path he mistakenly chose, which was to confront most of his critics head-on, agreeing with them that they were right and he was wrong, effectively doubling down, sometimes even tripling down in defiance. He had a trio of choices to consider. First, he could have genuinely apologized, which, let's be honest, would have been a better move than using Pirate Software. Your odds of hitting the jackpot on a roulette table by betting your life savings on green would be better, or he could choose the chaotic neutral route, act like nothing happened, and just hope it blows over. Spoiler alert, it won't fully fade away. But the less attention you give a fire, the less it thrives. The truly disastrous option, which Pirate Software opted for, was to confront the majority of his critics head-on, admitting they were right and he was wrong, effectively doubling down, sometimes even tripling down. This persisted even in instances where evidence clearly showed he messed up, all while he disregarded communication and began banning or blocking anyone who dared to disagree or criticize him. There was even an occasion where he claimed that content creators expressing their opinions were being reported to Twitch for allegedly provoking harassment. Overall, responding aggressively to criticism only added fuel to the fire. This approach just gave people even more reasons to troll him. At one point, he had a ban counter on his live stream that tracked how many users he had banned in that session. Ridiculous, right? Some people got banned simply for mentioning the unfolding events in his chat. One person even managed to speedrun getting banned. If he hadn't taken this route, the drama would have passed quickly, leading to an easier redemption arc for his online persona. Yet, while some did cross the line with their attacks, allegedly doxing him and sending death threats, there were also jokes made about one of his ferrets passing away. It's crucial to note, though, that his reputation didn't plummet overnight. There were signs that built up to this moment. It all kicked off with the World of Warcraft incident in January of 2025. And yes, for all the smart Alex, chronologically it was the Stop Killing Games controversy that came earlier. When he initially commented on that movement, nobody batted an eye or raised concerns. The majority merely accepted it at face value without questioning his integrity. The doubts began to surface only after the WoW drama unfolded, and key responses came from Ross of Stop Killing Games and Moist Critical, leading many to reassess both Pirate Software and his character. Anyway, classic World of Warcraft. Remember that one infamous player who defecated in his pants while gaming? Oh man, I forgot to make a health stone. Back in early 2025, Classic WoW was surging again in the streaming scene, largely thanks to a content creation guild named OnlyFans, which included multiple streamers and creators gearing up for a hardcore Classic WoW experience. In this version of the game, dying meant a complete restart from level 1. And it took a significant time investment to reach the max level where the real game began. Pirate Software was part of this guild and claimed to be a skilled mage, touting experience from his past work at Blizzard. However, during a dungeon run, things went south when the team accidentally aggroed a mob they couldn't handle. The party faced a chaotic situation, prompting a retreat, yet Pirate Software bolted toward the exit without supporting his team, wasting his mana in the process. When the team confronts him about this, he claims he has no mana left to assist, despite allegations that he possessed items to regenerate his mana for team support. He exited the dungeon, leaving 2 players behind to their fate, leading to frustration among the party members who confronted him. Instead of owning up, he left the call, a pattern he would repeat. They regrouped with their leader to discuss the issue, but when others took the chance to express their grievances, he just ghosted them. This lack of accountability is why it frustrates us. There's no responsibility at all, dude. In early 2025, Classic World of Warcraft was making waves in the streaming world again, thanks to a content creation guild known as OnlyFans. This guild was packed with various streamers and content creators who took on the challenge of hardcore Classic WoW, where dying means you restart from level 1. It takes a considerable amount of time to reach the maximum level, where the real gameplay begins, and Parrot Sofa was part of this guild. He claimed to be an expert mage, and even boasted about his experience from his time at Blizzard working on the game. However, during a dungeon run with other OnlyFans members, chaos erupted when they accidentally aggroed a mob they couldn't manage, leading to a disastrous situation. As the group faced an imminent wipe, they decided to retreat from the dungeon, with Pirate Software rushing towards the exit. Instead of helping his team recover, he wasted his mana along the way and then complained about not having enough when his teammates called him out. Allegations surfaced that he had items designed to regain his mana, yet chose not to use them. Eventually, he bolted from the dungeon, leaving 2 others dead, which drew frustration from his teammates. When confronted about his behavior, he exited the voice call, a move he would repeat later on, prompting the rest of the group to gather with the leader to resolve the issue. When others had their chance to speak up, he simply left. This lack of accountability is what drives us crazy about Pirate. Everyone has their strengths, but when you cut someone off to yell over them, "Can I get a word in?" "Nope, I'm fine. You jumped on the call." Look at him, so self-absorbed that people are digging into his past gameplay. It turns out he acted similarly before, treating less seasoned players like trash, including streamer Lakari. Following this, folks dubbed him Roach because he crawled out of the dungeon, and he started banning anyone in his Twitch chat who mentioned the incident. He claimed everyone misplayed, not just him, saying he faced tons of harassment for it. He later hinted that anyone who messes with him through the in-game messaging system risks getting banned, thanks to his insider connections from his Blizzard days. He slammed other content creators for calling him out, claiming they were feeding off him for content, while he was just documenting their actions. As reports flooded into Twitch, he began to erase and tweak his clips to avoid backlash from popular pages like livestream fails. Subsequently, the Content Creator Guild gave him the boot, and he responded poorly, trash-talking the guild in the process. This only served to escalate things, as they seemed eager for him to double down, triple down, quadruple down on his stance. They wanted a villain, an adversary to clash with and grind into the dirt. Their madness reached the point of sending death threats, driven by a guild that morphed into a toxic content machine fueled by hatred. It wasn't a community built on shared experiences, they were merciless monsters. Fresh off this turmoil, a game developer created a meme claiming they would embed Pirate Software into their game, complete with sound effects. They even released a video showcasing this, but it was just an offline build and not part of the actual game. When Pirate Software caught wind of this, he slapped a DMCA on the game, falsely claiming he was featured in it, leading to a fraudulent takedown. Pirate then threatened the developer with more legal action, saying he'd sue them, insisting they'd lose. I filed the DMCA claim against him, and now he's counterclaimed against me. This is heading to court. they're going to lose. You can't use someone's likeness or voice in your games without their permission. A lawyer noticed this and defended the game dev, pointing out that the lawyer Pirate was brandishing, named Cronus, supposedly couldn't even represent him since he was based in the UK, raising doubts about whether he practiced law at all. That brings us to the conclusion of the WoW saga, which was a lengthy situation that personally, I believe, marked the beginning of the decline of his reputation. It all started with a game incident but escalated due to Pirate's defensive reaction to criticism. This made many more wary of him, and he raised a ton of questions about his character. Seriously, people were questioning everything. Just a month later, amid the escalating WoW drama in January 2025, viewers scrutinized his gameplay in various puzzle games. Titles like Outer Wilds and Animal Well became focal points, despite his firm stance against spoilers or needing guides to finish them. Some viewers suggested he was cheating, sneaking peeks at guides on his phone whenever he hit a snag. The primary evidence, every time he hit a hurdle, he miraculously came up with the solution. Wait a minute, I think I just solved it. This included puzzles that demanded prior knowledge or were notoriously challenging, like in Animal Well, and viewers noted he sometimes glanced down at what many assumed was his phone. Personally, I don't think it matters if he cheated. It only spoiled the experience for himself just to look smart. If that's the case, it's akin to claiming you have a girlfriend who goes to another school somewhere far away. The attention this garnered was mostly due to it erupting right on the heels of his previous fallout, yet the next controversy was about to solidify the shift for Pirate. This time, it was the Stop Killing Games debacle around June 2025. Stop Killing Games is a movement that aims to... This happened during the Stop Killing Games uproar in June 2025. It's essentially a movement. Gamers should truly own the titles they purchase, and if the servers ever go dark, those games should still be playable, because, after all, they bought them. Ideally, players would have outright ownership, yet with games like The Crew, the moment the servers shut down, it becomes unplayable for everyone. This sparked a movement aimed at restoring ownership rights to consumers, with a strong focus on the European aspect, and one of its main voices was Ross, dubbed a pirate sufferer. When he first caught wind of this initiative, before any of the surrounding drama, Liquid went off on both Ross and the movement, making hasty conclusions. He blatantly misjudged the movement and overall discredited it with derogatory comments, dismissing it as used car salesman nonsense. It was garbage. Not only was I uninterested in supporting this, but I was going to actively warn others against it. Yet, nothing really escalated until after the recent WoW fiasco. Ross chimed in to clarify some points, while Pirate continued his unusual defense, standing by his incorrect stance and spreading falsehoods about the movement, refusing to engage with Ross or anyone who was attempting to provide accurate information. Then, Moist Critical entered the scene with a video that ignited things even further, leading to more backlash against Pirate, who still stubbornly refused to backtrack. While he did express regret to Ross for some of his comments, the irony is that all the attention this situation garnered ended up transforming it from Pirate supposedly sabotaging the movement to inadvertently helping it gain traction, amassing the necessary signatures thanks to the publicity. Yet, even now, Pirate refuses to own up to any of his mistakes regarding the movement, and public animosity towards him peaked. Even Meat Canyon tackled him in a video, and afterward, controversy erupted regarding his claims of being a seasoned game developer. People scoured his work history and found little evidence of real game development experience, leading some to speculate he was a product of nepotism because his father was influential at Blizzard. Pirate himself admitted that he landed his first job due to nepotism, explicitly stating, "My first job was all thanks to my dad, who worked at Blizzard for over 20 years. He got his foot in the door at Blizzard in 2004, sparking intense scrutiny of the games he contributed to, particularly Heartbound. Critics like Coding Jesus examined his work, arguing it simply didn't meet the standard one would expect from someone with Pirate's claimed qualifications. People observed instances of poor optimization in his game, which Pirate countered by claiming it was so well optimized it could run on a smart fridge, a claim quickly debunked as the fridge acted more like a display than a gaming device. Many also voiced concerns over the lengthy delays in his game's development, with prolonged periods lacking updates or offering minimal information. During these delays, he was often seen playing games instead of focusing on his own project. That was 3 months ago, giving you a brief overview of the developments. In a more detailed video I made, I explore further, but plenty of other content creators have addressed this topic. All of this drama could have been easily diffused if he had simply set aside his pride and admitted fault at any point. But he chose to go down with his pride instead. Unfortunately, this has caused him to lose some of his influence. But after 3 months, the internet seems to have largely moved past him. Still, I wanted to reflect on what has unfolded since. And it all started with an incident where I saw a woman struggling to breastfeed her child properly. Being the helpful person I am, I kindly stepped in to show her the ropes, as previously mentioned, where he played games instead of focusing on his own. That pretty much sums up the major events from 3 months ago. I dive deeper into this in my other video, but there are countless other videos discussing this. All of this could have been easily toned down if he had just admitted his mistakes, but nope, he sank with his pride. Unfortunately, this has cost him a lot of his platform. It's been 3 months, and honestly, the internet has already moved on from pirate. Still, I wanted to revisit the fallout of all this. I noticed a woman breastfeeding her child in a not-so-great way, but now I want to dive into the aftermath of all this and share an observation I made of a woman breastfeeding her child in a less-than-ideal manner. So, being the good guy that I am, I showed her a better method. Just like I said before, the Pirate's YouTube channel has suffered a massive drop in audience, losing over 570,000 subscribers since January 2025, falling from 2.66 million to a mere 2.09 million. As of the making of this video, he's sitting at 2.09 million. And honestly, I can't think of another instance where someone has shed more than 500,000 subscribers in such a short time. In just 10 months, that's quite a feat. And while holding on to 2 million subs is commendable, he's still losing about 50,000 subscribers monthly. His latest video views have also hit a slump, and to be fair, he's been less active on Twitch, where he used to stream more frequently. He's lost around 200,000 followers, and his average viewer count has plummeted from around 10,000 to just 2,000 per stream. That number, while still decent, has definitely seen a steep decline, and although he remains among the top streamers, it's a noticeable drop. Interestingly, his comment sections and Twitch streams still attract trolls, even with most of the internet seemingly having moved on from the drama. But, on a positive note, he still has a more tightly knit community now than he did before, with a lot of loyal supporters who have stuck around through the chaos. This loyal crew supporting the pirate is a small but significant victory, as he continues to share his insights and motivational shorts based on his past experiences. It's understandable why people are skeptical after everything that unfolded. I once lived out of my car for about a year when I was younger because I was reckless with my finances. In his shorts, he addresses tough questions he receives, clearly drawing from his own life experiences. For example, when fans ask for advice on overcoming addiction, he shares his story of being a recovering heroin addict. He used to be completely against the Stop Killing Games movement, which notably passed another milestone partly due to the surrounding drama. That movement shifted its objective to authenticate the signatures collected, ultimately confirming that 97% of the 1.4 million plus signatures were valid. The petition has successfully passed and is now pressing for government discussions, especially in Europe, where a UK Parliament debate is set for November 3rd, 2025. Similar initiatives are also emerging in various countries outside of Europe, indicating a broader social movement is under